Good day, kids. Today I'm going to show you how to cook Bolognese sauce, my Bolognese, because there are many different ways of doing and many interpretations. Just in case you wonder what I'm doing over here, just by the by, look, I'm preparing tripe, which is a specialty. So I'm giving it a little blanch here to make sure it's nice and clean. This comes from the intestine of a cow. You say, you're crazy, but this is one of the great European dishes of all time. Not to everyone taste. You're not eating that today. Let's talk about the Bolognese sauce. Bolognese is one of the great sauces of all times, and it goes extremely well with homemade fettuccine, at any rate with fettuccine like this. You can buy them ready-made, and Johnny is a master here at making homemade pasta. He will show you quickly how he's cutting it up. He's using semolina, and he rolls it over like that. Look, semolina prevents the pasta from sticking, and there he goes. To make a good Bolognese, you need to observe a few important tricks. You need, first of all, the three basic ingredients of celery, carrots, and onions. I've chopped them with a knife, but if you want to put them in the blender, you can just crush it in the blender. It'll be fine. It'll be okay, and it'll be a lot faster. Of course, you will then need some tomato sauce. People do all sorts of crazy things, but the best thing is homemade tomato sauce and finish, like the one that I showed you in the first series, in the first video. And as I said, you make that sauce and then you freeze it. In fact, I've taken this out of the freezer to make the Bolognese. And the Bolognese, a good one, is made with a proportion of beef. And in this case I have some brisket because it's cheap and because it's got some fat in it, and pork shoulder. Now you can vary the quantities. You can sort of go less pork and more beef, or you can just sort of go almost 50-50. It doesn't matter. Now I'm going to mince it, and I could have done it beforehand, but I want you to show exactly how it should be minced. That is, the size through which it's pushed through the mincer, and you have to insist with the butcher that he or she puts it through the right holes. Now this old-fashioned monster here has served me for almost 30 years, but look at the size of the plate. See that? It's quite large, and tell your butcher that that's what you want. Here is the minced meat, as I said, rather coarsely. A pot on the fire, some oil, not a lot, because essentially there's quite a bit of fat there, which is what you need if you want to make a good Bolognese. So you start shredding off your root veggies. Here we got onions, celery, and carrots. No other stuff, that's all you need. And it looks like a lot, but in the Bolognese it will disappear by the time you're finished. Okay, so here's the onions, and they all fry off much at the same time. The celery, some nice white and green celery, and finally some carrots. And the carrots impart a lovely sweetness to it. So now you just have to be patient and let this fry off. Sweat. It looks like quite a lot, but there's quite a lot of meat, probably 2 kilos more. And as I said, there's no point going to this trouble if you're only going to make a small quantity. May as well do a larger quantity and put it away in your freezer. This mix of carrot, celery and onions, which is the basis of a lot of braces, Is ready in about 10 minutes or so. Give it a quick, give it a stir now and again. And as a rule of thumb, I know when to introduce the meat when the veggies begin to stick to the bottom of the pot. We can go in here. You can see a little bit of browning happening inside the pan. So now for the meat. Okay, it's very important for me to have that mix of pork fat, lean pork, beef, and a little bit of beef fat. It gives it flavor. You might as well start salting it. A nice big pinch of salt. There's a lot of meat there. As I always say, you can always add, but you can't subtract. So go easy at the start. Some nice black pepper. A nice big pinch of pepper, crushed freshly in your mortar or your coffee grinder. And stir, stir, stir on rapid heat. You add another ingredient which I neglected to mention before. A little bit of good red wine. Not the one left over from 3 days ago that's gone rank. Get a good one. By good I mean fresh. Okay? So in this quantity I'll probably put, you know, a nice generous cup. There you go. And again, another stir. And I'll cook it off now for about 5 more minutes. Just to make sure that that wine evaporates. Okay, remember that sauce that I made a long time ago? Here it is. I don't put a lot of it in there. I don't like Bolognese that is overly tomatoey. Alternatively, you can put a little bit of paste and some of this, but I prefer this. It came from fresh tomato. I know exactly which paddock they came from. There it goes. Look at that color. That's just a magnificent, gentle red, which will concentrate as we go along. Now, you also turn your flame down. See, it was pretty high. We just go to a gentle, we go to a gentle heat. And there it is. Sometime along the way, as I said, a little bit of water. That's all. That's a Bolognese as simple as it can get. We'll now cook it for an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half, and see how it turns out. See you then. Now, after an hour and 20 minutes, this is what you get. Look at the color. It's a beautiful autumn brown, as I call it, because Bolognese sauce, while it's good all the time, I really love it in the colder months. So once you made it like this, you can dress a pasta, and traditionally Bolognese is not served with spaghetti but with fettuccine homemade, which I'm going to show you as soon as my water comes to boil. A beautiful homemade fettuccine dropped in salty, fast boiling water will only take 1 minute, a minute and a half to cook. Cheese is very important. It has to be good Grana Padano. Look at this, homemade, lovely fettuccine. You can buy these. If there is a little bit of liquid in the sauce, this pasta absorbs liquid very well, so you have no fear. Look, there's no, it's just a perfect bowl of pasta. Very traditional and tasty. Good luck. See you next week.